Good morning, Tony Dattino, founder of the USA Memory Championship, doing my Live with Tony. And for those of you that were looking for me on Monday, I am sorry. My day just was packed. It went by me before I knew it, and it was 8 o'clock at night. And I tend not to, if it's past 6 o'clock, I tend not to go back and try to do a Live with Tony. So apologies for not being there on Monday, but I am here today. And I had this amazing article that I read yesterday in the Orlando Sentinel, and that would be the April 22nd. Orlando Sentinel. This article should have been on the front page. It should have probably been in their Sunday edition. I think this is so awesome. It's so fantastic. And it was written by Cindy Krishna Goodman in the South Florida Sunday Sun Times, or Sun Sentinel, published on April 22nd in the Orlando Sentinel Tuesday edition. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. This thing is so powerful. And the article is all about the research being done to slow down what they call the memory slide, meaning a nice way of saying memory loss. And so it's so well written, and the research behind it is so well done. This has got to be one of my most favorite articles, and so I just wanted to spend some time on it, and I may do several sessions on this particular article because it's got so much in there for us to really focus on. So let's get to work. Researchers in South Florida are studying ways to stop cognitive decline, which they call the memory slide. I had never heard that term before, and I've done lots and lots of reading. I've run the USA Memory Championship for 25 years. I've worked up and followed the MIT neuroscience work on memory, and never saw it being referred to as a memory slide, which I think is appropriate. It sounds really as opposed to memory loss or dementia or things of that sort. But this memory slide, what are they doing? They're looking at what people eat, how they live, and who they spend their time with to learn and what is affecting their brain health. Let's go over that again, right? They're looking for what people eat, how they live, who they spend their time with, to learn the things they can do to improve their brain health. There are so many strategies that have been created in the last 5 years that Dr. Daniel Vella of the intervention surgeon at St. Mary's Hospital and Palm Beach Health Network just finds that not everything works out. Some seem to work, some seem to not, but it's trial and error. And that brought me back as I read that. They were looking for what seems to work. It always brings me back to the USA Memory Championship, which you can look at online, and look at what the mental athletes that compete in the USA Memory Championship are doing to exercise their brain to improve how they remember names and faces, how that helps them with social interactions when they meet people and they learn first their name and some things about them and how they link that and how they connect it. And so as I read what he's saying, that many strategies of interest in the last 5 to 10 years, we've been doing the USA Memory Championship now. It will be our 26th year. So we've had like 25 years of people competing from all over the United States to see who has the best memory. And so when you look at what they've done, how do we remember names and faces? How do we remember digits of numbers? How do we remember lists of things that we're trying to do? How do they remember lines of poetry, which is another way of saying reading comprehension of things? What are the skills that the men and women that have created or have participated in the USA Memory Championship, what are the skills that they've employed in how to do this and how to demonstrate their standards of improvement in a memory competition? And I'll give you something as simple as when we started remembering names and faces. Well, gee, who doesn't want to remember names and faces of people you meet? The importance to it in social interactions and in business environments and things. And so when you look at the skills of what they've done, well, 25 years ago, we were lucky to get people to remember 50 names and faces in pieces of what we would give them. And now you look at it, and it's over 200 pieces of information they remember about a person's first name and second name, which is an amazing skill that you can learn. given the education of what that skill is and how you can practice it, and then how you utilize it in your day-to-day life as you meet people, which then becomes a secondary benefit, which is the importance of social interaction and how we get out and meet people and worry about what we're going to say to them as opposed to what we're going to hear and learn about them. And so there's a simple flip in just the strategy of, so how does one remember names and faces of people? And how do we change our focus to learning more about the person we're meeting and more about their name and match it to their face, match it to what they're doing in their lives, that build a strategy that has staying power to it. And so you've seen Ronnie White and Nelson Dellis and Chester Santos do the memory champions that have demonstrated in their lectures and talks that they give how well they remembered people's names and faces, which is what I call it blows people away. They can remember 100 people's names and faces, and of course it leaves an audience of sales, marketing executives blown away by how are they doing this. And so there are skills that we can learn, a strategy that we can build that has amazing value to our everyday life, especially if you're out in the business world or you're out in any world where meeting people is important to you. And so it has an amazing value. And it is utilized in so many different ways because what do? We meet people all the time. So what they're studying is this whole notion of the memory slide and looking at what people eat, how they live, what they're spending their time on, and what they're learning about what impacts their brain health. And so what we've seen in 25 years of running the USA Memory Championship, there are fundamental skills that people can be taught. So when they talk in this article, it does a super article. It talks about different games, the puzzles, the Sudokus, and whatever the things are that people are playing that think they're helping with their memory skills. And I say, God, we've got a online course, Maximize Your Memory, and the 6 key factors of cognitive fitness. And I say, who's ever stopped to learn how to improve their memory? Are there skills that you can develop? And it takes me back to Hershey, Pennsylvania, probably 20 years ago, doing a keynote talk at a high school gathering of mental athletes that wanted to compete in which high school has the best USA memory team, and asking the students, when do you use your memory? And a young man stood up brave enough to say, Mr. Datino, is that a trick question? And I say, no, that's a very serious question. When do we use our memories? Now, I was going somewhere with this question, obviously. And he said, all day long. We use it all day long. We use it when I get up in the morning, and what clothes am I going to put on, and what books do I need to have, and what classes am I going to, what tests might I have, what do I need to study. And so he basically gave a terrific answer as the whole room is listening to this young boy who was as brave as could be to get up and give me a straight answer to the question, which is in everything we do. It's like, wow. Which then brought me to the next question, which I don't know if you're with me on this one, but it was a real simple question. When have you learned and been taught how our memories work and how you can improve it? What? When have we been taught? When have we learned how our memories work and how we can improve it? Like, gee, isn't it just a pounding into my head and this thing called rote memory? There's actually a class I could take. There are actually skills that I can develop. And a teacher from the back of the room yells out and says, we don't teach that. It's not in our curriculum. And I'm like, hello? There's a function of life that we utilize every day. And the student says, yeah, we use it all day long in everything we do. And the teacher yells out and says, but we don't teach it. Which led me to my list. I said, isn't this kind of silly That's something we use every day in our life, that is a function of how we live our life every day, as they're talking here in the article about, okay, what we eat, how we live, how we spend our time, what we learn that impacts brain health. The fundamental principle of what people worry about every single day as they get through their lives, of what they can remember. Did I remember where I put my keys? Did I remember where I was supposed to be going? Did I remember to pick up some items in the grocery store? We've never learned what the functions of it are, the fundamentals of it are, more importantly, how we can improve it. And so 26 years of the USA Memory Championship continue to demonstrate. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, as I do my Live with Tony's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're continuing to try to get the message out to the world that there are functions and things that we can learn and how to improve our memories, which obviously impact our cognitive function in this whole new world of Alzheimer's and dementia and the worries and anxieties that people are building. And here comes this article doing 6 years of research that basically is just fantastic. And then it says, hey, the number of people living with dementia, including Alzheimer's, will double every 20 years. And I'm like, when are we going to learn there are things that we can do, skills we can learn throughout our life that can make a difference and be a part of a research project at some point, someday. This is only the first page of this article. This is so great. I'm going to be using this for my next several Live with Tony broadcasts. And we're off and going. Have a good middle of your week. We'll see you back out here on Friday.